Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's interview. Before we get started, just want to let you guys know that you can find all of us on social media at CUNYAHF. I am on Instagram at SavageDJMcD, and my guest today, well, she'll introduce herself later. But before we get further into things, I would like to thank everyone who's supporting us so far and to those just coming in. And if you guys haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So, my guest today is an amazing human being. She is an international sensation, like by all means. She's performed all over Japan, Ireland, Austria, Germany, and New York City's very own Carnegie Hall. And you can hear some of her singles coming out this July on a streaming platform near you. But today, you can get some of her art here on the channel exclusively. So, please help me welcome in my good friend, the multifaceted, multilingual, Annael Alvarez. How are you today, dear?
Hey, pretty good.
It is so good to have you on here. It is really different doing in a quarantine, huh?
Yeah, it's definitely strange just not being in person. I don't know, I feel like there's a lot missing from those in-person meetings. We're only working with what we can right now.
And that's, I think, the spirit of the quarantine, you know? It's all about just making do with what we have. And this first piece we chose to display is the one of you half who you are, half digital art. It is so creative and it is so amazing and well done. What was the inspiration behind it?
Thank you. Well, I noticed on Instagram while I was just scrolling through the different type of challenges and art, there was this Tune Me challenge where people were drawing themselves in their own art style while also showing a little bit of their own picture from like a selfie or just a type of picture that they took of themselves. And I decided when I took this selfie of myself going to a concert in my high school, just like going back as a graduated alumni, and I figured why not turn this into like a Tune Me, and I basically drew myself in my art style.
Huh, that was interesting. I do remember that now. Although I think when mine came out I looked like a cartoon that just rolled out of bed. I still do, right?
I feel that. It's all good. It's all good. It's the quarantine type of mood.
So another piece of art that you are really good at is hand-drawn. But before we get to that, you have this one picture of this blue neon lights themed thing going on with this girl and her amazingly awesome hair and her dress, which is stunning. Were you inspired by Demi Lovato there, or were you just doing your thing? Because either way, we love it.
Well, I remember I was just looking back at my old art, and I draw original characters that I try to give their own backgrounds, names, and this one in particular is one of my original characters, or otherwise known as OC. I wanted to see how I would do drawing a galaxy behind her, just to see the improvement in terms of not only anatomy, drawing backgrounds, since that's one of my one of the little things I have to work on in my art, but also just see if I'm able to see improvement also in the coloring itself, since digital art is something that I'm recently working on to add more color to my art.
Well, it's really well done. Sorry, I'm so excited to announce the next thing. I get a little distracted. I love the saturation in it, and it just so happens that the light behind her is perfectly measured out because the rest of her is also very saturated, and she has this interesting skin color that makes her dress pop a little more, but her eyes pop just as much. So it has a perfect tone. I like that. Why that specific dress and why that style? Why not something more risque?
Risque. Well, when I was creating this character, I felt with her since she's still human, but also has these other powers of creating vortexes and being able to transport herself to any other type of dimension, that I felt that with her she's also rather graceful in her speech and her way of dressing. I felt like some type of loose clothing would fit her. Although this is only up to the upper part of her body, it's still showing that sort of freeness in her hair, and also just the little bit of style with the gem that I had to add details into on her upper piece. I think I meant this to be a dress, since she tends to also love floating around, so I tried to make that evident and give that sort of effect in this piece.
Huh, that's interesting. So she can create vortexes, she can teleport. Would you say she's also a shapeshifter?
She could, for sure.
Huh. Well, her chin definitely says that, and I like it. Speaking of girl power, this mysterious Indian woman that's actually hand-drawn, and we decided to put a little touch on it because of the lines, just to make it look a little more poppy, and it definitely worked out well in this case. So do you find that you are more proficient in hand-drawn art or digital art? Why this person? Because I look at this mysterious Indian woman, and I feel like I can put a name to the face, but I can't. It's not my brain. People who are watching this do not say that. It is not my brain. I am 22. I'm not crazy. I just don't seem to think that there is a specific name to this person. Or is there?
I remember looking up the image just randomly for a reference drawing. Another way that I would make art is just looking at different photographs, and these could be historical photographs or even just like pictures of family, relatives, or friends. And I'd like to try to practice my anatomy by focusing on those images and also trying to transpose it onto this other piece of paper using a pencil, like as simple as a mechanical pencil or a number 2 pencil. And I would also try to look at what sort of thing, like in that particular drawing, I remember I found this image. I decided to pick out one that was just on a grayscale, so it's just all in from black and white. I feel like it would be easier to practice drawing the different shadows, shading the hair as well. I don't know, I felt like this picture in particular captured my interest at that point in time, and I only had this notebook on me, on my person, and I figured, you know what, I will draw it on here, since I tend to draw on everything from my own sketchbook to notebooks, class notes, anywhere you can think of. I've probably doodled on there.
So you're more a paper and pencil and less, pen and stylus and phone, would you say?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I prefer pencils because I'm able to erase and just fix over certain lines. I feel like with pens that requires more permanence and I can't really undo. That's one of the perks of digital art is that you can always undo a certain action that you make or layer your different strokes and create all these other effects on different layers.
That's cool. I myself am not an artist in that aspect. I wish I was, but we both used to have the same phone, so I can agree with you. That pen pressure really makes a difference, right? Because you can see in the art, if you didn't have that pen pressure, those dots in the galaxy probably would not have looked the way they did.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure, because in normal type of pens, the stylus itself, it'll just mimic the finger, and it's not going to actually use the stylus's pressure, and it's not going to just imitate the type of strokes that you would take on a normal piece of paper with a normal tool.
That's cool. Well, you'd be doing 2012 Demi Lovato the justice, so awesome. This next piece actually is this cute doggy, which we love. And the one thing that caught my eye, pun intended, is one of its eyes is not as dark as the other. Was there a meaning to this, or is this somebody's dog or yours?
Yes, it's a family friend's dog. It was going to be her birthday. I'm pretty sure it was a day before mine, and I decided that I wanted to draw something special for her, and she has this pet dog named Abby. I almost said Chloe because I was thinking of Beverly Hills Chihuahua. Abby is this sweet little dog. I mean, she'll bark at us because at this point she's unfortunately blind in both eyes, so that's why one of the eyes is clouded. And in that moment, she only had one cloudy eye from the picture that I took, and I decided to try to draw it as best as I could and give it as a present to Jane.
That's so cute. That's adorable. The dog looks like it's biting part of this person's shirt. I can't quite know what's happening here. Or is that a hand?
It's a hand.
Oh.
So I wasn't sure if I wanted to just draw the dog itself or draw the dog with a little bit of the background where Jane is holding Abby in her arm, sort of like this. I remember at some point we were just in a conversation and I decided to take a picture because I had been meaning to want to draw her dog for a while, and I thought that maybe I could give this as a gift to her.
That's quite nice. And then that person must be really happy that you did this, and this person must look really cute. The dog is too, obviously. Speaking of hand-drawn animals, this horse is so nice. It's the detail, you can even see, especially the under chin of the horse. It's very well shaded. Now, explain. Why that angle? Why not, face up, face on? Why portrait? Profile, sorry. Why that?
No worries. Well, I have been taking a lot of pictures, and this was when I was on vacation during my winter break in Mexico, and I was visiting a lot of relatives. And at this point in time, this was when I had recently arrived to Guadalajara, and that's where one of my uncles, my dad's brother Ernesto, he has this restaurant, and he also has like a bunch of horses in the back, and that's one of his horses. It used to belong to one of my cousins who unfortunately passed away in a car accident, and like my uncle still takes care of this horse, and it was very special to him. And I figured that I also wanted to draw like something for him before I left to go to Zacapo, Michoacan to visit more family and relatives. And I remember I was like playing around with one of his one of her like one of his neighbors. Her name is called Jenny, and she would like introduce me to all of the horses. And at that point, we were also feeding El Profe. That was like his name, like the horse's name, and it's short for like the professor or the professor.
Huh. Was this horse a leading horse, a champion horse?
I'm pretty sure my uncle did race that horse, but I feel like it was more of a personal horse for my cousin to ride. But like the other horses he has are meant for like competitions and running and racing.
So in Mexico, you don't have to be rich to have a pony, huh?
Well, I feel like you do have to have a certain amount of income to be able to like maintain these horses, since they are high maintenance, along with roosters and chicken and all these other animals, since you have to take into account their like the feeding that they need, the actual space for them to like walk and just like be a little bit free rather than just be stuck in a cage.
Because I've been to Mexico before. Now, I visited parts of Cancun that I suppose were very touristy, although you also, ride in and you're like, this really feels like it's in the middle of nowhere. Like, so you think to yourself, I wish I could start a farm here, but is that really the case? Like, is Mexico the best place to start a farm despite how it's always open and warm, or is it just a touristy thing?
I feel like there's different aspects of Mexico that you have to like consider. Like, sure there's like the tourist areas, but there's like a lot of nature in Mexico that you can appreciate, and songs have been written about Mexico and how beautiful like certain landscapes in certain states are. There's the Caminos de Guanajuato, Caminos de Michoacan. Each are of two different states, and they still talk about all of these different little towns in the state, and that describe how beautiful like the hills are, or even how they're looking for someone, and then also describing the type of people that live there and their type of mottos.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. I mean, not like I plan on starting a farm there, but with a horse that cute, I'm gonna want to.
Yeah, for sure. It's always fun, and I feel like there's other things that are like less restricting in there in terms of keeping such pets like horses and rooster and chickens.
So, would you say in terms of the culture, right, and the traditions within Mexico, did you feel like the movie Coco did it justice, or did you feel like there could have been more representation?
I remember I was so excited seeing the film, and I showed my mom, and she was telling me that how like the people, like the actual like features, the facial features did resemble some of the people that might have been in Michoacan, I think.
Oh wow.
And that's like my dad's like state. So him in particular, he was like born in Zacapo, Michoacan.
Oh.
And I think like my parents were almost like able to like distinguish or recognize certain parts of it. So I feel like there's aspects of the culture that were represented well, and that people could like still like connect with and link with, really, in terms of like this strong sense of family and like the importance of having this closeness with family.
Well, that's good to hear, because there happen to be a lot of movies, and I don't want to make this a movie talk, but there are a lot of movies that lack representation for certain cultures, and I think this one was really well done. I did it for a radio show review, and I love the song Remember Me. I think that song has such a deep meaning, and we used it for my grandma's memorial video, and it worked out pretty well, although I had to find the acoustic. No less, we go into the next piece of art, which is my favorite, which is why I see it saved it for the last. Our girl, Demi Lovato. Now, obviously, this was a late birthday present, but I love the facial features on her. Although you keep saying you're not good with teeth. How is that so?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I still have to like work on just like the three-dimensionality with like portraits, and I think like with smiles, I feel like for myself in particular, I tend to draw them very creepy-like. So I still have to like work on like smiling and other type of like dramatic facial expressions, which is why you'll probably see me drawing images where like the people are more stoic or serious, but I have drawn like other people where they're smiling. I just have to like work on shading and just like the actual shaping of like the mouth.
Well, I'm so glad you said that, because Demi Lovato, if you're watching this, that chin of a butt that you keep saying you have, someone finally nailed it. Someone finally got it right. I'm sorry to say it. I can't do it the justice, but I know Annael can. Now, speaking of music, you are releasing some singles soon. Can't wait. So, are we going to hear a cover of Remember Me, or are we going to hear some kind of a redux?
I can take that into consideration if you'd like. I could like learn that song, like both the Spanish version or the English version, since they have two different wordings. But like I was thinking of other songs, since I don't know, there's a vast majority of Spanish music that I'm just like gonna wonder if like I'll sing something more classical, since I do have that like classical background, just like something that like people would recognize like outside, especially since I have a lot of like Hispanic neighbors, Mexican in particular.
So that's what brought you to Carnegie Hall, huh? That amazing voice.
Thank you. Well, that I couldn't have gone without my New Rochelle High School choir, where we were like they've been going there every 4 years, and the next time that they had to go happened to be my freshman year. And I remember I had also done, I think, area all-state, and they gave me the solo for this particular song that we decided to perform for Carnegie as well. And I shared the same solo with the person in all-state, so I was able to represent New Rochelle in that way. And they decided, my teacher, Mr. James, he decided to give me that solo, and I was able to perform every night when the sun goes in Carnegie.
That is such an amazing journey. I wish my music career brought me that far. For those of you who know me, I do music from home. My whole studio is from home. And the one thing I probably do on stage is an open mic night, and even that is not truly representative of what I do, but I do appreciate your support from everyone else, and I just want to let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Oh, for sure. I mean, well, you can see some of my art, or a glimpse of my art, through like the CUNY Arts Fest. And we can also see my art on my like more personal account, which is Dragandra1. So you can see a little bit of my childhood bleed in there, because I made that account thinking about my love for dragons, and that's where the dragon and then the DRA, just to make it, I guess, a feminine name for like dragons. And then I think that was taken, so I had to put one.
Oh,
and
so
then,
just like how people call me Dudette, just because they want to make it more feminine.
Perhaps, who knows? I do remember that was also influenced from like another like a very old YouTube channel, where I mean at this point I used it as a very general format, but I think I'm more like focused on my Instagram on that account, and then I have another account where I have my original characters and I just draw them in different scenarios, or just like through different experiences. So far I think have it named Musical OC Family, and you can see some influences from Wattpad as well, where I had an account and I went by Musical Dragon, and that also shows a little bit of like my love for musicals and just music in general, and dragons still.
I couldn't agree more. Dragons are awesome. Okay, I am Chinese and I have the stereotypical, Asian family thing where it's like, we must honor the virtue of the dragon. But then here's the thing, right? You put two dragons next to each other in one shelf, and your mom's gonna go, oh my god, you can't do that, that's bad feng shui. So, where's the love of dragons now? Anyway, everyone can find that information below this video right there. Oh, while you're there, subscribe too. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about your singing journey, because I want to know. Now, I always say I'm not Irish, but was the Ireland trip part of your choir, or was that like a different competition? What was the story behind that?
With Ireland? Oh, well, that was just part of like a general Europe trip with my choir. I believe I was a sophomore. Yeah, I was a sophomore because junior year, that was when we entered a competition in Orlando, Florida, and there we managed to get first place.
Nice.
Yeah, and I got to sing another solo with like another very talented soprano. And I remember like it was very last minute. Originally I did not have that vocal part, but at some point I think the alto that was singing the part that I got after was messing up a lot. That on the day that we had to go to Florida, my teacher asked me to like sing that part, and I had to sing like an alto part and practice it a lot like that same day, go there after school as well. Fortunately I was able to like learn it quickly, and luckily enough we got picked for first place in both like the general choir chorale and then also our Renaissance choir, though the name is misleading because we actually perform gospel music.
That's so interesting. I, for one, am not like a classical singer. I don't have those vocal cords. I mean, I can sing a few pop songs, but if you go on my other YouTube channels, you'll know I butcher it that much. But at least I still do it, no less, you know. I can't sing the way you do, and I don't have that level of awesomeness, but hey, at least someone else can, you know, be the next person to say, at least I can have some of that. Anyways, so this is the last thing we're going to do today, something I like to do with friends, just to, you know, see how, you know, close we are in terms of friendship, right? So we're gonna do favorite Demi Lovato song on 3, and if we both name them together, that's how close we are. If not, we gotta spruce up on our Demi Lovato songs. Ready to take the challenge?
Okay.
You could just say the first one that comes to your mind. It's not like it's gonna hurt anyone.
That's true.
Okay.
All right.
Here it goes. 3, 2, 1. Sorry, not sorry.
Whoops.
Do you want to restart that?
Sure.
Going in 3, 2, 1. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, we definitely got to work on that. Well, yeah, there you have it, folks. Annael, thank you very much for being here today. It was an awesome honor. And of course, you can find all of us on social media with the links down below. And if you have any further questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to shoot at us, because we are always here 24/7 via mobile. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in.